Hi, everyone. I'm Tatiana Whitlock, Director of Training with the Girl and a Gun Women's Shooting League. And today I'm joined by Brian and Shelley Hill of the Complete Combatant. Thank you for joining us.
We're
Thank you.
glad to be here. Thanks
Thank
for
you for
having
having
us.
us.
So, introduce our viewers to the Complete Combatant and about each of you. What got you started into this, and what types of programs do you offer?
Uh, Uniquely, I've been doing this my whole life professionally. I've either run martial arts schools or taught shooting classes or taught self-defense. So it's been a lifelong passion for me. I came out of a rough environment and I wanted to teach other people the skills that I had to assimilate on my own, and then also be kind of a clearinghouse. We like to be able to teach people all aspects of the self-defense, from first sign of danger, how to avoid it, how to interfere with it, how to have an counterattack, how to follow up afterwards and call 911, how to do first aid for themselves, and how to deal with the legal decisions that are implied in the use of force. So we're kind of generalists where we do a lot of things and we give people the basic essential skills for each of those and allow them to have some practice in a realistic environment or with our image-based decision drills, something that they could do at home. How'd you get involved, my love?
Hello, my name's Shelley. I've always been interested in the self-defense aspect of it, but I really didn't get into training or anything till about 2011 was when I started training pretty heavily there, and that would have been with the rifle or pistol. And I have cycled through what probably many people have done is you start with one and then you see how it works and you go to the next step and the next step and the next step, and then eventually started carrying. And that's kind of where I'm at now is I carry every day and I teach and got some certifications underneath me, underneath my belt there. And I'm just enjoying the process here with Brian at the Complete Combatant.
I'm a lucky man to have a wife that shares my interest.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
a husband that shares a wife's interest. It makes a big difference for our training community.
Sure.
Because she reaches people that I simply wouldn't be able to, and vice versa. So our message tends to be more unified. She tends to be very good with people and very good at reaching out. And I tend to be very good at studying and taking qualifications and teaching. So it's a very good combination for us.
Yeah, for sure.
We're very fortunate that our strengths complement each other and create a good synergy.
Yeah. See, he's the word guy. I'll hug you and I'll schedule your your training session. Yeah, but no, that's it's wonderful because we do work together and we are a fantastic team. And I just think he is absolutely brilliant. And I really enjoy once again the whole teaching process of this because it's amazing how he reaches people. It's a pleasure actually.
Definitely married up.
Well, you guys are a fantastic example of a couple that shoots together and can do that well without a lot of the pitfalls that we see a lot of newer shooters and maybe a more experienced one side spouse versus a newer, less experienced other side spouse. And that can create friction in unnecessary areas. So, for couples that are interested in learning together, seeking you guys out would be a fantastic resource because, again, you model what that can look like. There's synergy and balance there, and you play off each other's strengths wonderfully. Now, I've also experienced a lot of households, families interested in the types of things that you spoke to about being a well-rounded unit with what you know and what you can do. How are you seeing families come together during currently this time in the country where we're all spending a lot more time together? Are they seeking you out for this information as a family unit to solve those problems?
Yeah, we've had several people take the image-based decisional drill program itself and run it as a family. Some very high-level instructors, actually, some very top-level guys have been running their children through it, their wives through it, and then vice versa. We have some wives that are introducing it to their family. And the wonderful thing about that is you tend to travel together and move together as a unit. So it's really important that you have these skills made in advance. We call it pre-need decision making, so that you know what each of you is going to do. And that takes some of the cognitive delay out of the decision making skill that you can react really well. And also it opens up a conversation of, all right, I have an 8-year-old, and of course they can't carry a firearm. So what are they going to do in this situation? How do they deal with it? How do I deal with it if one of us is sick or injured, which is what we just went through? Some responsibilities shift back and forth. And it makes the balance between the unit much better. And I think it's a great way to practice and open up a well-rounded discussion. And then you can audit skills. Well, I'm good at
That's
this.
what I like.
I'm good at that.
Yeah,
So,
you can see the pros and cons immediately afterwards with this type of training, because you're kind of like, oh, that didn't work, or I couldn't deploy it from here, or whatever. So yeah, the feedback is very, very beneficial, and the talks afterwards are as beneficial too. So
it gives you an idea of an after action report. All right, so I need to carry a flashlight, or I need to have pepper spray. I need to understand when to use force, or I need to understand pre-assault cues and quicker and see them. And since this is image based, that's the cues that we get. That's our main self-defense weapon, is being able to see and locate danger. So this is really priming people to get into the act much quicker. And then it's funny, we find that people that see these, then they start making them more advanced. They add more things to it. What would I do if at night? What if I do if I'm sitting down?
or in a crowd, or
what if I'm holding my child's hand? How do we react then?
or from a car. That was an interesting one too. So Brian said something actually last night, and I'm going to steal it. So it was really my idea.
Of course.
Okay. And I wrote it down. I actually put it on the website last night. This is very interesting. We were talking about this, and he said, if you can't get out to train with us on the range, then train with us at home. And I thought, wasn't that interesting? Because you can take these drills and this information, and you can bring it into your home. And I thought, well, yeah. So that was mine.
She's brilliant.
I'm brilliant.
Took the words right out of it.
I like that. Yeah. If you can't get out in the range and train with us, especially what's going on now, you can still train at home. Yeah. Don't stop.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, you brought up a lot of fantastic points, and a lot of things that are at the present and current, top of mind issues for a lot of people. How do I engage my family? How do I engage my significant other? And how do I become a well-rounded, thoughtful, responsible firearms owner for personal protection or home defense? Now, you talked about the image-based product. Can you explain to us what that is and how people can find out more about that online through your websites?
Sure. In January of 2019, we were just talking about things that we would want to possibly train with. And there's stuff out there, but not necessarily on the range or off the range in a dry practice setting that would be for a civilian. I mean, just a normal everyday citizen. So we're just kind of putting our heads together, and this kind of just evolved in about 3 or 4 months, that you have an image, and we have guidelines, and we have options and everything else. And this could be dry fire setting, or it could be live fire. And you would flip an image card over, and you have roughly 5 seconds, which is very generous, if we're talking real life, but we got to start with that roughly 5 seconds to look at that image and make a decision on what you're going to do out of the options that are going to be most common, that we would have to deal with in a day-to-day setting. And you have to act on that. And after you act on that, once again, you have the opportunity to kind of think, okay, did that work for me? Is it something that I do want to choose to carry? Is it something that pepper spray would be a good option for me? Do I know that I'm a little slow to respond, but I got a really good voice? Is it something that is going to be a tool that you didn't recognize? So it helps you along the way. But the main thing is being decisive, quicker, pre-need, and when that happens, to be explosive and to get it done. That's kind of in a nutshell. But he's better with words. What am I forgetting?
Well, you've made this wonderful package of images, and
Hmm.
it has a fake phone in it,
Hmm.
which is really important. It has an inert pepper spray, which means it's
Hmm.
not active and you
Hmm.
can practice with it.
For sure.
Um, and then you have a flashlight
Flashlight,
from HK,
HK, yeah,
which has
palm,
supported this,
yeah,
and Palm's pepper spray. So you've got all these tools,
sure.
and we really like to talk about the specificity of carrying something, but oftentimes we find that it's hard to cycle and let one thing go and go to the next.
Mhm.
And that's the big thing that we want to do here is teach people that there's tool cycling and decision cycling,
Yeah.
and it has to be done quickly. There's an interesting story about smoke jumpers, guys that jump into fires, wildfires. They won't let go of their tools when they need to run out of there, and that's cost people their lives. If they just throw all their tools aside and run for the hills,
Mhm.
sometimes while they're fighting the fire, they would have survived. And we find the same thing in our force on force classes that once somebody commits to something, whether it's the firearm or the flashlight or the pepper spray, they're really, it's hard for them to give it up. And this gives you a chance to cycle through that and say,
Mhm.
this no longer is of value. I need to go to the next thing as quickly as I can. And it's a brilliant idea because it's on images. So the
Yeah, you
thing
just
that you
flip it
do,
over.
yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say, see if I had any. The other thing that's part of it is tourniquet. So you don't actually have a tourniquet. That's not what we're looking for, but it's the ability to articulate, to to move on it, to know the 911 afterwards, to know the pressure, to know that it's high up, so on and so forth. It's just basics to make a decision on how to place that tourniquet. So
So, how can people go online and find out about you? Invest in these resources and tools, which are fantastic, fantastic training aids and fantastic way to engage, especially the young people in your household as well as yourself for those thought provoking conversations. Where can they go online to find you?
you guys are so lucky because if it was left up to me, you couldn't find it. Thank God for Shelley. We have a website. It's thecompletecombatant.com. Very easy to find. All the resources are on there. This is called image-based decisional drills. And then you can see all our credentials, our recommendation pages, because this information didn't come out of just us. It came from other trainers.
for sure.
And we always want to attribute that. And you can find other recommended places to go to get further information in all our classes and everything that we offer.
Hmm.
We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, everything.
Hmm.
She's really good at that part of it, and
Hmm.
I'm not. So thankfully, she does all that.
Excellent, excellent.
Well, thank you both so much for your time and for sharing what you do and for putting those products and those programs out there in the marketplace. I encourage everyone to visit the website, the social media links, and invest in quality training with the likes of Brian and Shelley. Thank you for supporting A Girl and a Gun and for offering such profound training tools. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thanks for all you guys do for the community.
Oh,
We
for sure.
appreciate it.